In the final years of World War II, as Nazi Germany began losing ground on every front, rumors started spreading among Allied intelligence officers. Whispers of weapons so advanced, so strange, that they seemed almost impossible. Gigantic rockets capable of striking cities hundreds of miles away. Jet aircraft faster than anything in the sky. Massive tanks that could crush entire battalions. And secret projects hidden deep inside underground laboratories. The Nazi regime called them Wunderwaffe, Wunderweapons. To Adolf Hitler and his inner circle, these inventions promised a miracle that could reverse the war. To the Allies, they were terrifying unknowns. Some of these weapons were real and deadly. Others never left the drawing board. But together, they formed one of the most fascinating chapters of World War II history. Tonight, we explore the Nazi superweapons that frightened the Allied world. Chapter 1, Hitler's obsession with miracle weapons. By 1943, Germany was in trouble. The Eastern Front was collapsing after the disaster at Stalingrad. Allied bombers were pounding German cities day and night. And the United States was sending massive industrial power into the war. Hitler knew Germany could not outproduce its enemies. So he looked for another solution. Technology. The Nazi leadership began pouring enormous resources into experimental weapons. These were not incremental upgrades. They were revolutionary designs meant to change warfare forever. Hitler believed that just one breakthrough weapon could shock the Allies into defeat. Many scientists were drawn into these programs. One of the most important was rocket engineer Wernher von Braun. Working at secret facilities along the Baltic coast, his team was developing something the world had never seen before. A weapon that could reach space. Chapter 2, the V-2 rocket. The first weapon from space, the V-2 rocket, was unlike any weapon in history. It was the world's first long-range guided ballistic missile. When launched, the rocket blasted upward at supersonic speed. Within minutes, it reached the edge of space. Then, it plunged back toward Earth at over 3,500 miles per hour. There was no warning, no defense, no way to intercept it. When a V-2 struck a city, victims heard nothing until the explosion. The missile carried a 1-ton warhead. Entire city blocks could be destroyed instantly. In September 1944, the rockets began falling on London and Antwerp. Thousands of civilians were killed. For Allied commanders, the weapon was deeply alarming. This was the beginning of the missile age. If Germany could improve the design, the next generation might strike continents away. Chapter 3, the V-1 flying bomb. The buzzing terror before the V-2 rockets arrived. Another weapon had already terrified Britain. The V-1 flying bomb. Allies called it the buzz bomb. The reason was simple. Its pulse jet engine made a loud, buzzing sound. People in London quickly learned something horrifying. When the buzzing stopped, the bomb was about to fall. The V-1 was essentially the world's first cruise missile. It could fly over 150 miles, carrying a massive explosive payload. Thousands were launched toward England. While many were shot down by fighter aircraft and anti-aircraft guns, many still got through. The psychological effect was enormous. Entire cities lived under constant fear. Chapter 4. The jet fighter that arrived too late. Another terrifying innovation came from German aircraft engineers. The Messerschmitt Me-262. This was the first operational jet fighter in history. Compared to Allied propeller aircraft, the Me-262 was incredibly fast. Nearly 540 miles per hour. Allied pilots struggled to intercept it. When the jet attacked bomber formations, it could strike quickly and escape before fighters caught it. Had this aircraft appeared earlier in the war, it might have caused serious damage to Allied bombing campaigns. But there were problems. Jet engines were unreliable. Fuel shortages limited operations. And Hitler insisted the plane be used as a bomber instead of a fighter. By the time production increased, Germany was already collapsing. Chapter 5. The massive Maus super tank on land. German engineers pursued the ultimate armored monster. The Panzer VIII Maus. It weighed nearly 190 tons. That made it the heaviest tank ever built. Its armor was so thick that most Allied guns could not penetrate it. Its main cannon could destroy enemy tanks from extreme distances. On paper, it seemed unstoppable. But reality told a different story. The mouse was simply too heavy. Bridges collapsed under its weight. Transporting it was extremely difficult. Only 2 prototypes were ever completed. Even so, the concept showed how far Nazi engineers were willing to go in pursuit of battlefield dominance. Chapter 6, The America Bomber. One of the most ambitious German projects was the America Bomber. The idea was shocking. A bomber capable of flying across the Atlantic and striking American cities. Imagine New York under attack by German aircraft. Several designs were proposed, including the Messerschmitt Me 264. But the project faced enormous challenges. Engines lacked the necessary reliability. Germany's industry was already stretched thin. In the end, the America Bomber never became operational. But the mere idea forced Allied planners to consider the possibility of attacks on the United States. Chapter 7. The giant railway gun. Germany also experimented with weapons of extreme scale. One of the most famous was the Schwerer Gustav. This massive artillery piece weighed over 1,300 tons. It fired shells weighing 7 tons. The gun required thousands of soldiers to assemble and operate. Its purpose was to destroy heavily fortified targets. During the siege of Sevastopol, the weapon fired enormous shells capable of penetrating deep underground bunkers. Although impressive, the weapon was impractical. It was slow to deploy and vulnerable to air attack. Still, it demonstrated the extreme engineering ambitions of the Nazi war machine. Chapter 8. The Nazi atomic program. One question has haunted historians for decades. Could Nazi Germany have built an atomic bomb? Scientists such as Werner Heisenberg were involved in the German nuclear program. But the effort never reached the level of the Allied Manhattan Project. Germany lacked the industrial resources and organizational coordination required. When Allied forces captured German nuclear facilities near the end of the war, they discovered the program had fallen far behind. Still, the possibility that Hitler might acquire nuclear weapons terrified Allied leaders. Chapter 9. The Nazi flying wing. German engineers also experimented with futuristic aircraft designs. One of the most unusual was the Horten Ho 229. This aircraft had a radical design. No traditional fuselage. Just a smooth flying wing. The shape reduced drag and increased speed. Some historians believe it also reduced radar detection. In many ways, it resembled modern stealth aircraft. The project never reached mass production, but it showed how advanced German aeronautical research had become. Chapter 10. Desperation and collapse. By 1945, even the most advanced weapons could not save Nazi Germany. Factories were destroyed by bombing. Fuel supplies vanished. Cities fell to advancing armies. Despite the propaganda surrounding miracle weapons, Germany simply lacked the resources to win. In May 1945, the Third Reich surrendered. But the legacy of these weapons did not disappear. Instead, they became the foundation of the Cold War. Epilogue. The technology that shaped the future after the war. Both the United States and the Soviet Union raced to capture German scientists and technology. Through Operation Paperclip, engineers like Wernher von Braun were brought to America. Their work helped launch the space age. The rockets that once struck cities would eventually send humans to the moon. What began as weapons of war became tools of exploration. But the story remains a powerful reminder of how far nations will go in pursuit of technological dominance. The Nazi superweapons were not the miracle Hitler hoped for. Yet they changed warfare forever. And their legacy still shapes